Is that better? Okay. Okay. Hello, and welcome to this Robin Hood moment. We all know that technology has the potential to help solve problems. But did you know Robin Hood has a special initiative for budding tech entrepreneurs and technologists who are developing and scaling tech-based ventures that are materializing solutions to real-life problems for people experiencing poverty? Historically, the needs of low-income communities have often been overlooked because so many current technological innovations are developed without community input or haven't taken into consideration the lived experiences of people in poverty. To bridge that gap, Blue Ridge Labs has helped seed, launch, and scale 135 aspiring technologists since it joined the Robin Hood family in 2014. My name is Kevin Thompson, and I'm the Managing Director of Communications here at Robin Hood. And today, we're going to talk about the incredible story of this innovation lab at Robin Hood. And to share it, we're pleased to have Sergio Marrero, its Managing Director, join us for this Robin Hood moment. Sergio, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here, Kevin.
Oh, thank you. It's good to see you. Let's begin talking a little bit about what Blue Ridge Labs is and how does the work you do there advance the fight against poverty?
Well, thank you for having me, Kevin. And at Blue Ridge Labs, we have a physical incubator space in Brooklyn, and we support innovators that are focused on fighting poverty by providing funding, training, support, and most importantly, connecting them to individuals that have experienced poverty in New York so that they can experience and get the insights of the people closest to the problems.
Thank you. And I understand you have 3 core elements to the Blue Ridge approach. And then you also have a follow-on fund. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the Catalyst program, the Design Insight Group, and of course your prestigious fellowship program. Let's start with Catalyst. What is that program? How's it organized? And what's the value proposition for its participants?
Absolutely. So the Catalyst program, I say, is a pre-accelerator program for early stage ventures that are looking for product market fit, also looking for funding, and want to connect to our DIG community, which I'll talk about in a minute, but lower income New Yorkers so that they can get the insights they need and get ready to launch and scale.
Got it. And you mentioned DIG. I know that, as you think about building technology that matters, we need to understand how it fits into people's lives in some way. And that's what the Design Insight Group, as I understand it, does. Talk about how you identify the participants and what they do.
Absolutely. So the Design Insight Group is a community of 1,500 New Yorkers.
Wow.
Across New York, different boroughs that have experienced poverty or they may currently identify as being low income. And what we do is we bring them together. We do community events, but the value they provide is by working with participants in the fellowship and Catalyst, giving them feedback on their technology products that they're launching and co-designing the solutions with them so that in the end, the solutions are actually meeting the needs of low-income New Yorkers.
So they're actually co-designing these.
Absolutely. Yep.
Wow, that's a very unique perspective. Are they compensated for their work?
Yes, so they are paid for their engagement. Right now it's $30 an hour for every interview. It could be focus group. Maybe they're actually product testing. And every time they engage, they're compensated for their work.
That's great. Now, you have that fellowship program as well, and that's an annual cohort you've been assembling since 2014. How does one become a fellow? What does that mean?
Good question. I'll start with what the fellowship program is. 18-week program. Individuals come in. There's 4 different buckets that we look to recruit folks from that either have a technology background, maybe they're a product manager, they could be a designer, or they actually have lived experience in the focus that is the highlight of that fellowship for the year. Currently, we're focused on healthy futures for children in poverty is the focus for this year. So we are recruiting 16 fellows. They come together and they don't have ideas. They actually go into the community. They interview our DIG members and they understand the problem deeply and come up with concepts from the beginning.
Wow. Okay, so they come with a clean slate.
As much as we.
Yeah, and then they're presented with the problem through their interviews, and then they are challenged to come up with solutions. That's amazing.
And it's a pretty quick turnaround. 18 weeks, it seems like a long time, but if you take a step back, you have to effectively launch a product and organization in an 18-week time frame. So it's very fast. It's full time. Many folks have technology experience before or aspire to launch their own organizations, and that's what we help them do over that period of time.
So with all this support for incubating these wonderful ideas, you must have a tremendous group of alumni over time. Tell us a little bit about some of those standout alumni and what some of their successes have been.
Absolutely. We have to date about 40 alumni. Some are for-profit, nonprofit, some are hybrid structures. And it's across the board. Some focus on access to affordable housing, some digitizing your electronic benefit transfer, food access, supporting food access, and down to childcare. So Wiggle Room is an example of one of the ones that has been most successful, come from the fellowship, actually also went through Catalyst.
Oh, wow.
And then and they are connecting lower income families to childcare on demand. So it's a system that will adapt for parents that actually have hourly jobs whose shifts are changing day to day or week to week, and it will find them care when they need it most.
That's a great one. And how many alumni do you have?
We have 40 organizations and over 135 actual alumni that have either been through the fellowship, been through Catalyst, and are just members of the broader BRL community.
And you also help a lot of these entrepreneurs and technologists and creators raise funds for their ventures. How much money have you raised since 2014, and how do you go about doing that?
It's a good question. Of the 40 collectively, they've raised over 135 million since 2014. And really, we are focused on supporting them in the earliest stages and then helping them get into other programs. During their time with us, we have them connecting not only with experts in their field, but we also connect them with program officers at Robinhood to give them insight on where they need to get follow-on funding from Robinhood and other organizations like Robinhood. And then even after they're done with the program, they not only get feedback and support from each other, they frequently come to the space, and that community we feel is exactly what helps them succeed.
Now, have there been examples of companies that you've incubated that have just taken off and they're an actual ongoing business concern?
Yeah, I think one of the most notable and one of our earliest programs has been Propel. They've reached more than 5 million Americans. They started as Fresh EBT, and their name is Propel, and they are digitizing the SNAP payment process. You're able to track your balance and where you are. So it instead of calling a hotline that the city had set up, they've digitized and really brought that into the
So I can check my balance much like I could check my own checking account.
Exactly.
and know how much money I have to spend.
And millions of people, not only in New York, but across the U.S. are using their product.
Wow, that's amazing. And it's just probably even a little more mind-blowing that something that most people take for granted just not available to a large swath of the population.
Mm-hmm.
Sergio, you mentioned that this year's theme for the fellowship program is Healthy Futures for Children in Poverty. How did you come up with that theme? Why that one? And do you change a theme from year to year?
So we do change the theme from year to year, and how we develop it year after year is by first surveying our design insight group, and just to gain an understanding of what are the latest challenges that they are facing. And it not only surveying the group, we've 1,500 and about that almost 200 folks responded. We collate that information, and we identified this year as mental health and health issues were a priority. And then also working with Robinhood, it was identified that focusing on child poverty was a priority for the organization and also the city. So we brought those together, and that's how we came up with Healthy Futures, focusing on
I love that. And I love how your approach is so, grounded in what the real life sort of concerns are in the moment. And that's driving the theme. So the fourth and final element of Blue Ridge Labs is this follow-on fund, which is relatively new. What is that? Why did you come up with it? And how is it serving the participants that have been in the other programs?
Great question. So the follow-on fund, we will invest in Catalyst alumni up to $250,000 in several alumni each year. And it was developed over the last 2-3 years. We have a small cohort of graduates. Wiggle Room was actually the first investment that we made into a for-profit alumni as Robinhood, which was exciting. And part of the reason that we came up with it is we heard again and again a lot of these early stage ventures, they had challenges with funding. And we said, hey, if we can co-invest with other investors in your venture, help it get to the next stage, let's do that. So that has continued with the support of Pershing Square. And we're excited to continue to back the alumni of Blue Ridge Labs.
Sergio, before we go, you've been sharing a wealth of information about the wonderful innovations happening at Blue Ridge Labs. I gotta imagine that there are a number of people listening who either want to participate in some way as a mentor, or maybe they're even interested in investing in one of these ventures. How do they do that?
And great question. And we are always looking for folks to engage with our community. You can be a mentor. We can connect you to the alumni so you can back them or invest directly. We're always looking for donors and supporters of the labs to make these programs continue into the future so that there's a steady stream of innovators focused on fighting poverty.
Awesome. Before we go, tell everybody your email address, Sergio.
It's marrero@robinhood.org.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sergio. That's all the time we have for today, but we really appreciate you being with us. That was Sergio Marrero, the Managing Director of Blue Ridge Labs at Robinhood. I'm Kevin Thompson. Thanks for listening, and do join us again to learn more information about Robinhood news, interviews, or stories of our impact. Visit us at robinhood.org.